The Daiwa Revros LT is a part of Daiwa's Light and Tough series of spinning reels, a lot of them being under $100 and being a great bang for your buck option in today's market. Now, is the Revros LT worth it in that category? Let's find out in today's video. Before we talk about the features, let's talk about the specs on this reel that I have in my hands. Now this one right here is the REV RLT 1000. Now this is going to have a gear ratio of 5.2 to 1. A max drag of 11 pounds. The bearings are going to be 4 plus 1. The weight's coming in at 7.2 ounces. The line capacity is 250 yards of 2-pound test and 110 yards of 4-pound test. And the MSRP is coming in at $60. Now, the most notable features on this reel are going to be these four right here. These are at least the four that I got out of it after doing some of my research on this reel. The air drive motor is going to be an awesome one in there. You've got your Zion V material, your DigiGear, and your machined aluminum folding handle. There were a couple others that they had on the list, but those are the four that really stuck out to me, and I think those are the four as an angler that you're going to actually, feel the most as you're using it. Now, as for looks, I think this is a pretty dang good looking reel. Daiwa doesn't really make an ugly product. I think Daiwa and Shimano kind of kill it in the looks department. It's really nice. It's kind of got this it's like this golden yellowish color all the way around the spool and the handle. Those are the only two parts on the reel that have that gold, so it's kind of cool that they make that little accent in there. It's also got kind of this it's like a really dark blue around the full handle going up into underneath the spool, and then they've got a little bit of silver accents in there, kind of like the stem where the handle is, and then the very bottom of the reel, and then some in the spool, and then the some of the wiring as well. So it's overall, they do a really good job with just kind of those three colors. They do a good job with the accents on each of them. I think overall it's a pretty dang good looking reel, especially for $60. Now, as for versatility and function, Daiwa has this in a bunch of different sizes, everything from a 1000 all the way up to a 6000, and then they also have a 2500 in the middle there. The 2500 is pretty standard in the industry. That's going to be kind of your all-around bass fishing reel. The one I have here is a 1000. This would be your go-to trout reel right here. It's super light, it's super easy to hold all day, and that size is perfect for trout. Now, I wouldn't use this for saltwater, and there's two reasons why I wouldn't use this for salt. Number one is going to be, I don't think this reel is sealed very well, especially for $60. I don't think they put the right stuff in here to have that super sealed for salt. If you were to use this for saltwater, I think you would be okay as long as you did heavy rinses of fresh water afterwards, but I still think that after a while, you're going to get some corrosion and you're going to get some nasty junk in there. I think you'd be fine for a while if you just wanted to use it, once or twice a year, you'd be fine. But the other problem that I have with this reel is it has a very thin spool on there. Compared to some of the other Daiwa reels in this line, it's just a very thin spool. I've actually had a lot of people interested in the 4000 for steelhead, and I've actually turned them away from this reel for steelhead just because of that super thin spool. But for certain fish, right, like bass, trout, panfish, a lot of your all-around freshwater applications, you really don't need a huge spool. I don't think I've ever been bass fishing and wished I had more line on my spinning reel, pretty much never, right? So for your freshwater fish, for your average freshwater fish, right, that thin spool is going to be perfectly fine. But I definitely wouldn't use this in those certain situations. The one other thing on this that I wish for the versatility is I wish they made this in a 500 size because of how light and easy to use this is. I would love to have this in a 500 for your ice fishing applications. I think that would be really cool. But overall, the 1000 would still be perfectly fine for your ice fishing. It would just be nice to have a reel just a little bit smaller for some of those uses. Now, as for durability and build quality, this has Daiwa's Zion V body in here, which basically is going to make this extremely lightweight but tough at the same time. This reel definitely, it doesn't stand out as being an overall weak reel when you hold it. It definitely feels more finesse, right? And that's what a lot of Daiwa's LT reels that's a lot of them. That's what they feel like, is they feel very finesse and lightweight in your hands, but they're also extremely tough and they can take a beating. So Daiwa definitely killed it with this in terms of for $60. I think you're definitely getting a reel that's going to last you a long time, as long as you just take decent care of it and don't thrash it to an insane level. You know, this is definitely not going to be to your Daiwa BG quality of in terms of the durability factor. Now, as for ergonomics and feel, this is where the Daiwa reels really stand out, and the Revros especially, is basically they have in there, it's called air drive. Basically, there's these little air pockets that are created inside the reel as you move the handle, and it basically helps reduce the inertia as you reel. In the tackle shop I work at, when I compare this with customers and I show them a reel that does not have air drive and then a reel that does, they feel the difference right away. I mean, you definitely, as you reel this, you feel how much more balanced it is as you move that handle. It doesn't overrun, right? You know, you don't reel too quick and it gets away from you. This stays with you as you go, and it helps to create a very balanced feel while you're fishing, which for finesse applications is crucial. That's what I want to have when I'm finesse fishing. So as for that category, for $60, this reel feels incredible compared to everything else on the market. That air dry feature is, in my opinion, one of the best things that Daiwa has ever done. They have absolutely smacked it with that air drive stuff, and they've put it in almost every reel now. I mean, basically every single LT reel, from like your lowest price point to your highest price point, has that feature, and it brings everything up. Everything in everything in that LT category, you know, with the air drive, just makes it feel so much nicer than how it costs, which is one thing I really love about that. Now, as for casting, Daiwa has the ABS spool design, which definitely helps for those longer casts. A lot of Daiwa's LT reels, the ones that I use, I have a super light braid on there. I have like a 4 to 8 pound braid, and I'm using them for trout. I'm throwing really light lures, like 1/80th ounce, 1/60th ounce, stuff like that. And they cast fantastic, especially paired with the right rod. You're really not going to have to stress about casting with this reel. It's going to do a great job no matter, you know, how light or how heavy of a bait that you're throwing. Now, this is one of the biggest selling points with this reel here, is the price. For $60, this reel does not feel like a $60 reel. I talk about this a lot in a lot of my Shimano and Daiwa review videos, but they are doing a great job at trickling down those features from their higher end reels down in to all of their reels below that. So for an example, right, if your very highest end reel, you just completely redid the reel, you put in brand new technology, well, then they're taking the technology from the old version of that reel and they're bringing it down into the next one. And then that one goes down, and it goes all the way down to where, like, basically this reel right here has features that, like, you know, $300 Daiwa reels had just 5 or 10 years ago. So you're basically getting, you know, you're getting super nice features into reels that do not cost a lot. And Daiwa and Shimano, like I said, they're the ones doing that the best right now. They're throwing those features down into those sub $100 spinning reels, and they're just taking the market by storm right now. This is hands down, this is one of our best selling reels that we have at our store, and it's because we have them all out for customers to feel. And the second they reel that, the second that they feel how good that, you know, they feel that air drive and they feel how balanced it is in their hands, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't they want to buy that reel for $60? Anywhere in that price range, you know, depending on when you guys are watching this video, it could be less or it could be a little more, but anywhere around that $60 price range, I think is an absolute steal for this reel, especially if you're looking for an all-around, you know, bass, trout, panfish, kind of, you know, ultralight finesse reel, but you don't want to break the bank. The Revros is an awesome buy for that amount of money. Okay, so let's go over the full pros and cons list of this reel right here. So as for pros, right, this is an extremely smooth reel thanks to that air drive in there. The handle, I love how lightweight and balanced the handle is in your hands. It also has a super strong body material in there, so it's very, it's gonna be very durable, even in those situations where you're gonna be, you know, roughing it up a little bit. And then that price is just phenomenal. Anywhere around $60 is an absolute steal for this reel. Now, as for cons, I do wish it came in that 500 size. That would have been really cool. Obviously, this reel is not fully sealed, so I would not recommend this reel for saltwater use. And then that spool is really thin. I know that is a style of reel to have that thin spool, but I think for this specific reel, I don't think that was a great choice. As for the rating here, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think for the money, this is a great choice for anybody wanting to do those finesse applications like trout, panfish, bass, certain stuff like that. If you pair this up with a nice little 7-foot ultralight rod, you have the ultimate little budget panfish setup, especially if you were to pair it with like an Akuma Solilo or something in that, around that same price range. You're getting for under $100 a rockin' combo that's going to catch a bunch of fish for you. Speaking of rods to pair this with, I have a video right here for you guys if you want to see a decent rod that would go well with this. I also have some other Daiwa reels right here if you guys want to see another one very close to this. Hopefully you guys got something out of today's episode, and we will see you guys next time on Humbug Videos.